Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I am Abe with MysticGenMara.com, a small town mystic from the middle of Idaho. And today I would like to offer the elemental energy reading for the energy of Earth, and that covers the zodiac signs of Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. So if you're one of those, or if you have Earth high in your birth charts, then these messages could be for you. As with all tarot readings, take what resonates for you, release the rest is for someone else. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button, drop a like if you enjoy this type of content, and comment any questions, comments, or suggestions in the comments section below. And as I've done the last 2 months, in this third quarter, I wanted to try something a little different. So I am using the I-Ching at the start of each reading. And so we are starting off with Earth Energy I-Ching hexagram, which is number 31, Attraction, Sensation, and Change. And it says, attraction, success, righteous persistence brings reward. Taking a wife will result in good fortune. Doesn't always mean with these that it's a relationship situation. They had different meanings when the I-Ching was originally written. So the basic commentary is attraction involves stimulation. The yielding is above and the firm is below. They are an opposite of character, mutually responsive feelings enabling them to be together, so it's magnetic. The stubborn and the joyous are conjoined, the man below the girl, hence all good things promised in the text. The myriad of objects owe their existence to mutual stimulation subsisting between heaven and earth. Similarly, the holy sage stimulates men's hearts, and the whole world is therefore at peace. The inner nature of everything is heaven and earth, can be gauged by observing what is stimulating each of them. So it's not so much relationships in the conventional sense. It is the attractive principles. The negative will attract the positive in a magnetic sense, but it also is your vibrational alignment. If you're vibrationally aligned with something, you create a void. Nature hates a vacuum, so it will be filled. That's the basics of the law of attraction. So this next month for Earth would be a good time to maybe brush up on your manifestation practices a little bit. So we'll now go through each line, reading the commentary, and then I'll give you what Spirit is guiding me to say. We start with the bottom symbol and work our way up. The bottom one is sensation in the toe. So the physical sensations are starting at the base. This is something that it's more physical in nature, but it's more grounding. So this is really aligning with your energy. The feet and the toes connect us to the planet Earth itself. So being aware of your physical body as you're working your manifestations, as you're working on the attraction aspect of things, is a really good guide stone for this next month. The second line is sensation in the legs, misfortune. Good fortune comes to those who do not venture forth. So there is a point where too much movement in your attracting phases could upend the apple cart, so to speak. So it's one of those things where you really want to be present in the moment and not make drastic changes, because the legs mean movement, big movement. You're not moving a lot with just your feet shuffling, you're not moving a lot walking on your hands, but the legs equal pretty heavy movement. So during this next month, it's good to work here and bring it into manifestation, but that does not mean that you're physically out there chasing it around. Staying grounded and staying centered is your purpose this month. The third line, sensation in the thighs. He cleaves closely to his wife, partner, that for him to continue in this manner would be shameful. So this is implying that being too restless, being too driven to succeed is going to lead to less than pleasant endings. Again, we're talking in a physical sense, but you're working in the mental space, the ether, bringing it in, but it's not through physical chasing stuff. It's bringing it from up here into the physical, but it's not through active motion. So really staying grounded, staying centered, and focusing on your spiritual growth as well is a priority in this coming September. So righteousness, the fourth line, where are we at here? Righteous persistence brings good fortune, and regret vanishes. Only friends and immediate followers will waste their thoughts on one who dithers irresolutely to and fro. So this is where you have to stay focused on what it is you're trying to build. You have to stay focused on the things that are important to you. It doesn't mean that you have to go chasing after them. The people around you, because it says friends and immediate followers, waste their thoughts on one who dithers. So they're focusing on someone who's physically out there doing all the work. Quietly, in your own world, staying balanced, staying focused and grounded, but you're working on developing and manifesting. You're not working on chasing, because they're talking about, oh, chasing this person. Look at, they're going back and forth and everyone's watching that person, but what are they actually succeeding? Irresolutely to and fro means they're just chasing their own tail. They're not actually doing anything. So in your quiet state, the righteous persistence, in other words, the dedication to what you're trying to grow, is the most important aspect for you coming up this month. In the fifth place, this one here, sensation in the fleshy covering of the spinal column, no regret. You're bringing, they're kind of doing this a little bit backwards in my mind, but they're bringing your manifestation, you're anchoring it in, and it's manifesting. So the way they're implying it is you have thought it, you've built the vision up here. It anchors into Gaia, and Gaia is drawing it up through your spinal column, up through your chakra system, if you will, and that's where it's manifesting out. So sensation in the fleshy covering of the spine. So the skin of your back, that could be that cold, or not cold, those little chills up your spine when you know something is aligned, when something's playing out the way it's supposed to. That's going to be another one of those indicators that you're doing the right thing, even if it doesn't feel like it to your brain or the people around you. So the capstone here, this number, the sixth line, is sensation in the jaws and tongue. This is a minor warning, and I said it earlier in this reading as well, that you don't want to be creating noisily. You don't want to be running hither and thither. You want to be creating in quietness. Other people are going to be watching the weirdo over there making all the noise but not actually accomplishing anything. But your creation is going to be in the silence. The sixth line is a little bit of a warning, a little bit of a heads up. As you're creating, keep it to yourself. Jaws moving, tongue flapping, you're not benefiting what you're doing. There's an old saying, destruction is noisy, creation is silence. And I have to say, and for you specifically, Earth Energy, during this next month of September, it would be advisable to build your creations in the quietness, in meditation, staying grounded and centered, keeping your eye on the prize, what's your goal up here, but not allowing the chaos around you to blurt out that you're manifesting a new business, that you're manifesting a new house, a promotion. Keep that to yourself. Just work on the visualization, because if someone else gets a hold of what you're thinking about, they can actually drain your attention from it, because they'll be like, well, what if you did this, and what if you did that? The message is pretty clear. You need to stay focused, righteous persistence. Keep it to yourself, stay grounded and anchored into the now moment, so that the thing that you're working on can actually come to fruition. So, now we're moving into the tarot, and there are 4 weeks in September, plus a couple days, but we'll just go with 4 weeks this time. And so we will be doing 4 sets for each week. I pull a guide or guardian, and it depends on what your specific situation is as to whether you need the spirit to be a guide or a guardian for you. We have a message from Source every week, and then we also look at a lesson or a challenge that may come up during that week. Again, I read intuitively, so the messages that come through may not be exactly what's on the card, and that's okay, because it's messages that you need to hear or want, or Source wants you to hear. So we'll get started here with the Golden Christed Dragon, and this is for the first week. Bringing your higher love so that you can embody Christ's light. Absorb the Christ light, you are protected, and expand your heart and remain fifth dimensional. This is a card encouraging ascension. This is a card encouraging bringing in divinity, really focusing on that higher frequency. With the I-Ching, this month is really talking about focusing on what it is you're trying to manifest, focusing on your goals, focusing on the bigger picture, but not so much talking about it. The Golden Christ Dragon is saying, when you bring yourself into a higher frequency, you bring in that Christ energy, which Christ is a title, not a name, not a person's name. So, and a Christed is an ascended one. It's the term Christ is an ascended master type belief. So you're bringing in this high frequency energy because what you're building is something that you're spiritually aligned with. And you can't really, I mean, you can do it, it just takes more time, but when you align with your higher frequency, with that Christ consciousness, it makes your ability to manifest a little bit faster. I mean, everyone's different, so who knows what's exactly going to manifest for you, but really focusing on that ascending energy, that high energy, and setting yourself up to walk into the fifth dimensional energy, because we are in a shift of time. I was watching a little clip the other day, and the person made the comment, and I agree with it, that ever since 2020, the last 4 years, it's been one continuous year. Because, and I asked one of my friends yesterday as well, recently, that can you delineate out specifically, starting from 2020, a difference between 21, 22, and 23? And they started to respond, and then they stopped because they couldn't differentiate the 3 years. The reason is we are shifting a timeline during this time period. Linear time, like we've been living, isn't going to be as structured. So when you work into that fifth dimensional energy, you can start to see that time doesn't always apply the way we thought it used to, and that's where that shifting is starting to occur. So your message from Source is karmic board clearing, energetic clearing, rewriting your story, living your truth. So during this first week, you may feel, they're being really loud, you may feel really super tired this week because you are clearing karma. Karma can be done in an awake state, but for you, you're working in silence, you're working in quietness, and during that time, it's that sleeping, that more meditative, more spiritually focused, needing to be away from everybody. You're clearing out the stuff that's not working. It could be karmic connections. People may just fall out of your life. No harm, no harm, no foul type stuff, but they just may not be there anymore. You may fade out of a friendship circle. You may fade in and out of a job. You may fade into a different circle. When you're clearing karma gently, and that's what they're bringing forward for this, is it's not going to be a harsh cutting of cords with an axe. It's more of like untangling and releasing so that it's going to be smoother. But they're saying during this week, because you're working with this higher frequency energy, with this fifth dimensional Christ consciousness, it also is going to help you release some karmic connections, and that could result in just feeling a little bit more tired than usual. And what they're saying is take the time for self-care in this first week of September. Allow yourself that blessing of quietness, soothing music, classical music, just things to help you relax and allow your body to process the energy coming in and the energy you're releasing out. So your lesson or challenge from the tarot is the moon, number 18. So the lunar energy is the divine feminine. This is the tapping into the subconscious mind, your intuitive mind. And the subconscious mind will support what you've got going on, but the subconscious mind is also the one that's doing the grunt of the work. That's where the urge of being more quiet, being more reflective, being more introspective, journaling, things like that. In this first week, you're working with high energy coming in. You're clearing out some karmic issues that have ready to be released at this point. They're manifesting their little heads up there saying, hello, let me go. Lessons have been learned, so it's time to close the chapters. But that's going to be done primarily in the subconscious. So doing things to support your subconscious, eating clean meals. That doesn't mean anything specific. It just means eating clean. Try to stay away from processed stuff. They're also saying during this first week, limit your how do I put this? Chemical stuff, alcohol, caffeine, nicotine, whatever it is your preferences are. Just try to limit that so your subconscious mind can work at a higher productivity during this first week. So let's see what your second week looks like. for Earth Energy 2023 September. There we go. And if you're interested in any of the decks that I'm using, they are linked in the description box below. And there's also the particular book I'm using for I-Ching is linked down there if you want to check through that. And there's also a kit if you want to learn how to do I-Ching with the casting rods. They have those kit for those as well. So your second week is Gold and Silver Violet Flame Dragon. Transmutes the old around you with wisdom and grace. It's time for transmutation, magic, and healing, offering services under grace. So this second week is really bringing the energy that you brought in, taking it into your body, and allowing yourself to change how things are rolling. This first week was more of a subconscious mind thing where you're bringing the energy in. It's kind of like downloading a program, but it's not active until you open it up. The second week is you're working on opening up those programs. The Gold and Silver Violet Flame Dragon is a transmutive dragon. He's here to help you change the things that are not working into something that's more aligned with your soul's purpose. Your soul's purpose, by the way, can change. You have a list of agreements when you come in, and those agreements have a multitude of variances. So your soul's purpose in this moment may be to start a healing practice, to take a Reiki course, to take an aura reading course. But that doesn't mean in 5 years that you might be on a different path. So work with the now energy, what's coming forward. And it's that still small voice, your intuitive guidance that came forward in the first week is what the Gold and Silver Violet Flame Dragon is going to help you transmute into a higher frequency physically. So let's see what the message from Source is for Earth Energy. These decks that I use for these type of readings are usually pretty talkative, and for some reason it's wanting to be a little bit quiet today. So we will see. Your message from Source is Shambhala Initiations, retreating to recharge, trusting the process, and Dharma. So as you're transmuting can be a little bit intense. I won't say aggressive, that's not quite the word, it's more of an intensity. So during the second week, as you're transmuting the old, you're releasing the karma, you're transmuting it into something higher frequency. You have this high frequency Christ energy that came in the first week, and you're using that to basically power yourself forward. It's that sacred technology. There is some initiations that may be coming forward, helping you understand this new energy, helping you understand this new process of your life. And what they're saying is that this is going to apply primarily to your inner world, your spiritual world for this moment. But as you change and you transmute, transmutation is taking a rock like coal and turning it into a diamond. It's changing form at a foundational level. And so your foundation is what's going to be shifting. That's why staying grounded, staying centered, and self-care, and this month looks to be pretty quiet for you, as far as you don't want to be bragging or talking or spreading what is going on in your personal world, because your spiritual world is going to be pretty active, even if it doesn't appear that way on the outside for this month. So just be aware that there are some high energies coming in. You're working through some new initiations, and taking the time when you need it to step away and allow yourself to recharge, to kind of reset basically, is not a bad thing this month. So your lesson or challenge from the tarot is the one of chalices. You're starting a new emotional world. You're cleaning things out, you're resetting, and Earth tends to not want to be too emotional. They like to stay the way they are. And this card is just giving you the heads up that things are changing, things are shifting. This could trigger some emotional responses. And just as a reminder, you're at the beginning of something new. When you're at the beginning, things can be a little bit intense. They can be, to use a word I don't want to use so much here, it can be a little bit scary, especially when you are an earth energy. You want to stay grounded. Your feet want to stay firmly on the ground. You want to know what's happening, why it's happening. Logic and reason are huge. So this card is saying you may be experiencing some emotional shifts as you're going through this transitioning period, but that's okay because you're starting something new. You're walking away from something that's old and past that has lived out its cycle, and it's time to free that. So let's look at the third week. We have the water dragon, helps you flow around obstacles easier. Christ's light and love are flowing. Develop your psychic abilities going with the flow. So this third week, as things are shifting and changing, things are also going against your natural mind. Water flows around rocks. Water makes a new path. Water just moves when it's given the space to do so, and if it's put in something, it fills it to the shape. Water's the ultimate chameleon. Earth, not so much. So the water dragon is coming in to help you process these changes, help you understand the emotions that may be coming up in relation to the changes, these new initiations, and this high frequency energy that's coming through this month. So during this third week, be a little bit more go with the flowy, be a little bit more, so this is what we're doing today. Even if you have plans for other things, just be aware that during this third week, those plans may change, and that's okay. And just kind of like the card says, just go with the flow and tap into that more fluid energy. And when water and earth combine and make powerful, to use this term, powerful magic together, you ever seen the destruction a landslide can do? There's a lot of movement that can occur when water and earth work together. So just be aware that sometimes that's not a bad thing, but the results can be pretty impressive. Your message from Spirit is Lemurian seed codes, embracing sensitivity, uniqueness, and living with grace. The Lemurians were pre-Atlantean people, or higher frequency Atlantean people, depending on who you talk to. They left Lemurian seed crystals all around the planet. The Lemurian crystals are a little bit different, whereas when you rub your finger down them, you will feel a barcode, and if you can see, there's some texturing lines. Each one of these dark bars separates multiple lines. I don't know if that'll ever focus right, but it feels like a barcode on a Lemurian crystal. Lemurian crystals specifically are encoded with healing modalities and energy, so meditating with them actually can help you understand a new healing talent, a new healing skill. Working with them taps you into a higher frequency level. There are people who say that they are from a massively high density, not just dimension, and that's where they returned when the Atlanteans decided to not be smart with their gifts and tools. So when you work with the Lemurian seed crystal, you're working with an ancient healing knowledge, a very spiritual frequency. So you're working with the water dragon, you're learning to go with the flow, but you're also bringing yourself into this higher frequency energy, and you're allowing your body, mind, and spirit to be healed during this time. And again, they're emphasizing this does not have to be a loud thing. It can be very quiet. It can be something that you're the only one that knows you're going through it, or maybe one close friend, because they might be going through something similar as their healing journey. And so working with those type of frequencies and the Lemurian seed crystals is just going to help you anchor that newer, higher frequencies into the now moment and your physical form. So your lesson or challenge is the Tower, re-emphasizing the creative destruction that is occurring. You're clearing out, you're transmuting, you've broken things down in the first couple of weeks, and now you have all these bits and pieces. That's the Tower. The Tower is showing you have to tear it apart to be able to rebuild it. The Tower is reminding you that you had to go through this process of deconstruction so that the new person, this new energy, this new you can be built. You're going to be built in a way that is what you agreed to before you came in. And we're talking in very spiritual terms, so outwardly this may not manifest as much within your life as far as work, family, personal stuff. So this reading isn't so much like, oh, you're not telling me about my business. This one is not so much focused outwardly. Just like with the I-Ching, your changes, your successes, your growth is going to be more internal. So during this month, really be paying attention to your spiritual world. Things might to you seem like they're falling apart. You might have that moment of, who am I? What am I doing? That's the Tower coming in saying, the old you needed to have some things taken out, but to do that we had to deconstruct you, and now we're rebuilding. So just be aware that this month could have some intense moments, especially emotionally, but it's things that are not going to be as active in your outside world. This is going to be more of a subconscious spiritual frequency for you, earth energy. Your fourth and final week is the Crystal Yellow Dragon. Opens you to a higher learning and wisdom, expanding your crown chakra for illumination, walking the higher spiritual path. So the Crystal Yellow Dragon is coming forward saying, okay, you've done a lot of internal work. You've done a lot of this spiritual shifting, changing, transmuting, creative destruction, so to speak. And this last week is now you're taking this internal, subconscious, maybe secret, if you will, change that you have, and you're starting to walk this better frequency. And it could be something super simple, like just being more open to other conversations, being more friendly to the checker in the line at the grocery store, being more open to changes in your employment. This is where everything that's went on the first 3 weeks starts to manifest into the physical world. Again, you're not talking about the changes that have went on behind the scenes. That's no one's business but yours. And just like what the I-Ching said, moving jaws, flapping tongue, no good comes from that this month. So the changes that are going on with you are internal. They're between you, your higher self, and God source energy. And the Yellow Crystal Dragon is just helping you bring those changes into the physical world through awareness and consciously playing it out. So this fourth week it's looking like this is where the rubber meets the road. You've done the internal work, and now it's time to bring it into the physical. And we have, for your message from Source, the Thoth Light Codes, or Thoth, if they want to go there. Light Initiation, Great Teachers, Awakening, and Divine Magic. This is you bringing the high energy that you have built inside, the changes that you have created, you're manifesting them out. Thoth, or Thoth, in the Egyptian pantheon was the god of wisdom, the god of knowledge, the god of the library, basically. So this is an Akashic Records type thing. When you're talking light initiations, you were initiated into higher frequencies. There were some changes that were needing to come in the second week. This is the final, like, graduation level, this fourth week. So you've done the work internally. Things have shifted. No one outside may even notice, then that's totally fine. But during this fourth week, you're putting all of that information, you're bringing those tools that you have learned into the physical world. That could be as simple as starting your, if you've taken a Reiki course, if you've done one of these courses, it could be starting to look for clientele to help you practice. It could be mentioning in passing that there's these other things that you're starting to become aware of, and it doesn't mean you're telling everybody. It's you're picking and choosing the people you speak to, because the teacher within is going to help guide you, and that's where the Crystal Yellow Dragon can also help guide you in the situations and the steps to anchor the stuff that you've learned more into the physical world. And when I say anchor, it means to bring it into the light of day from the subconscious mind. So let's see what your lesson or challenge from the tarot is for September in the earth energy. Nope, not that set. Tried to give me 5 cards. I never pulled that many. We have the Four of Pentacles. Be careful who you trust in this last week. What you're learning is not for everybody. You don't, like this person, the person on the bottom, she looks like she's scared, like something's being forced upon her. And so what the message coming through is, be careful who you share this to, because you may come across really intense, not meaning to, just what happens, and that could scare people away. So really tap into your inner wisdom, tap into the Crystal Yellow Dragon, work with Thoth's energy, because what's coming up is don't basically cast your pearls before swine. You want to really make sure that the people you're speaking to about this are at least receptive to it, because when you go through these kind of changes and transitions, when you first come out of the inner work, where you're starting to bring it into the physical world. You're very sensitive. Think of a chick just coming out of an egg. Things people say, people's opinions can really hit like knives through you. So take your time and allow yourself to, put your feathers on and get ready to really bring this out. And that means working with the people who are supportive, working with the people who are going to offer you constructive, gentle criticism. Like you wouldn't start doing a tarot practice and then go to a priest and be like, look what I'm doing. They're going to destroy you. So you don't want to go that route. You want to go to the people that you are supportive, like your friend that's not really spiritual, not really religious, and be like, hey, I'm doing tarot. They're like, awesome. What does that mean? So that way it gives you an opportunity to bring what you're talking about into the physical world. And it doesn't mean that they're going to be like, sure, sign me up, but there's someone you can talk to about it. So this month is really about your inner world. There's not a lot that came through for your outer world. So probably maybe nothing too exciting, which is not always a bad thing in the outside world, but your inner world looks like there's going to be some shifting and changing going on. So hopefully you guys are having a great month of September going forward. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like. If you're new here, hit the subscribe. Let me know what you think and any changes or shifts that you may experience. If you feel comfortable, share those in the comment section, and I will see you in a future video.